Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you. And today we are going to discuss about the DevOps roadmap. Many of the individuals they have that query in their mindset that what exactly kind of a roadmap I need to follow to have an implementation going forward into the coming year. So we all know 2024 is on the way and there are the new skill set which is really need to be learned. That is actually we are going to understand and how we are going to utilize that formulation into our career and which adds an value that we are going to discuss it. Okay, so basically this video will be contains multiple areas where we will talk about from the networking front what all things you need to learn it, then with respect to the cloud front what all cloud you should be knowing to learn it, as well as we will be then talking about the microservices related details what all have been required, as well as we will be having some more things maybe related to the operating system, maybe related to the CI/CD integration, maybe related to the pipeline part, then maybe related to the monitoring part. These kind of steps we are going to capture in this particular video, which can help you not only understand the concept but also help you to plan the things in a better way. Okay, so going forward, let me take you to my screen where we are going to discuss about the DevOps roadmap. So just keeping in a hiding heading for this video is DevOps roadmap, say 2024. Okay, as we are already into the last of the phase, so it is basically a 2024 curriculum which we are going to talk about. Okay, so basically to do enter into the DevOps, there are many initial stage. Okay, I'll talk about someone who is actually looking for the roles. There are multiple role. Okay, but it is going to be talk about multiple technologies. So it is basically site reliability engineer. This is the job role actually for the DevOps guy. As well as we will be having a job role called DevOps developer. That is also a job role which is actually it is available. Okay, so multiple screens. I will be moving my face to one screen to another screen for the left side audience as well as for the front audience and for the right audience for all of them. So it will be a better clarity. Okay, and another role within the DevOps itself we can consider as a cloud computing. Okay, so when you learn DevOps, you actually eligible for multiple job role. One more job role you have that is the Linux admin. This is also there. So multiple job roles is available there. If you're seeing on the screen, you have a Linux admin, you have a site reliability engineer, DevOps developer, and cloud computing. Okay, so first I will going to talk about someone who is actually looking for a job into the DevOps developer. What all need he needed and how he is going to be plan it. Similarly for the site reliability engineer, some part will be more, some part will be less. On that we are going to discuss. So let me take it as a generic only. So, for an example, if I am considering someone who is looking for a DevOps developer role, this is a kind of a job role he is going to talk about. Okay, there are actually number of tools available into the market. Number of tools available into the market, but we are not going to talk about all the tools right now because we want only some specific set of tools only some specific set of tools. Now then you have a question in your mindset like, okay, what kind of tools we really need it for our learning purpose. So for an example, someone who is actually start to learn this DevOps part, so as a basic start for him, like for a developer role if he is going, so for him the part is important is one programming language. Again, I'm making it clear this is for someone who is actually targeting for the one of the good companies as a DevOps developer, and there are multiple languages available: Python, Ruby, Go, Java, Node.js, and React.js. These kind of languages actually available for the people who is actually looking into the DevOps development role. They can pick any of the programming language for their learning. So I would say probably go with Python if it is your first language. Anyhow, if you are starting for the first time into the programming world, you should go for the Python one. That will be more easier to understand the syntax as well as the fundamentals. Fine. This is the first part you need to do it. Second part into this area, that is the operating system. Okay. Operating system is very much important for you to understand. How many of you really understand different type of operating system which is available into this one? There are n number of operating systems we have. Okay. The more famous one is Windows based operating system and Linux based operating system. These both have the two ways of operating system is available right now. So basically, as part of learning DevOps, I won't suggest you to go any other one. You just focus on these two, which is actually related for your learning. Okay. Now going forward also, then you have again a question that okay, Linux also have some flavors. Okay. So basically, Windows, I will classify this operating system section in two layers. Okay. Operating system section into two layers. Windows, another one is Linux. So Windows, basically we all know that we have Windows Server 2016 to 2023 and some more are there. Different type of operating system we have which will be available. Okay. Linux we have multiple flavors such as Red Hat, Ubuntu, Solaris, SUSE, CentOS, Rocky Linux and so on. What exactly it means? It means there are different type of operating system which is available into the market which you need to be understanding, but it does not mean that you need to go in each of the component for your understanding. Okay, these are different type of set is available, but it does not require that every operating system you should be master. You should be at least knowing one operating system under the part of Linux. You will be getting a familiar understanding how these things are actually work into the real time scenario. So you started with one programming language, and then so if I create a part was a programming language, what you have did it, then what you did, you went to the Linux part in the section, okay, or the Windows part, which is called it as the operating system you have learned it. Fine. So that way you are actually moving to the furthering screens. Now, now what exactly next part you need to do it? Okay. Next part you need to learn about some more networking concept. Okay. Now next more part is networking concepts. Okay. Very important. As part of DevOps developer or DevOps guy or site reliability engineer, the next important concept for you to understand the networking concept. So under the networking concept, you should be good with understanding of TCP protocols, how TCP protocols actually work. Then you should be good with UDP protocols. Okay, these all things. Then you should be good with the OSI model. Okay, and then you should be good with the TLS part. So basically what we are doing to do it, we are actually trying to make you understand that these networking concept which is available into the market, these all things you should be knowing it in a betterment way. Similarly way, we should be having a good understanding on the protocol side, HTTP, HTTPS. Similarly, you should be knowing it SSH. Similarly, you should be understanding the FTP protocol. So it means different type of a networking concept idea you should be having in your mindset. So you should be able to create anything with respect to the network layer, and there should be no such confusion. You should be having it. Fine. So it will give you a betterment idea to understand the things flowing around the networks. Now, another important question might be come into the mind to where we can learn this all things or where we can practically implement this thing. Where we can practical implement this thing. So for practical implementation, again, there are few offerings are there. As part of DevOps, one of the important things which is available, that is your three major clouds available into the market. Okay, three major cloud available into the market. One is AWS cloud, another one is Azure cloud, another one is GCP cloud. Okay, now you definitely have a question in your mind that why I need to learn a cloud, right? So the reason behind learning the cloud is because, for an example, you want to practice Linux after learning Linux, what exactly you need? You need a free platform which can help you to do more practice on the Linux front. So Linux can be provided by AWS Cloud. Similarly, with Windows can be provided by AWS Cloud. How? That can be provided by using the images. Okay, and that is we call it as AMI images. And under this one, this is called it as the EC2 instances. EC2 instances. Similarly, way into the Azure cloud, it should be called it as VM or virtual machines into the Azure, and GCP called it as compute engine. Okay. Similarly, way because I'm now going to use AWS cloud, so I need to understand all the services which is available into the cloud for the betterment and the development of the new kind of the project which I'm going to be deployed according to using the services. Okay. Just a high level overview to touch base on the AWS cloud, because we will be talking about more in detail into the next playlist what you are already seeing into the YouTube, that is related to the AWS overview. So definitely you will be having few services to understand, that is your EC2, B part is your VPC, C part is your load balancing, fourth part is your auto scaling, fifth part is your Route 53, sixth part is your databases, then storage, which is actually denoted as S3. Then you have, say, subnets, public VPCs, and private. So these kind of different kind of a services, what you are seeing right now on the bigger screen, these kind of a different kind of a services which you are going to utilize and learn it during the cloud mechanism. Very, very important topic as part of your DevOps journey, where you should be having a good exposure on the cloud front, and then you are going to do a hands-on. Okay, now you have done the cloud part also. Now what next? After that, you should be having multiple set of DevOps tools. Multiple set of DevOps tool. Right. Now, for example, I'm taking one example. Say in a real-time scenario, you have created one project. Okay. For an example, I am one user who is creating one project. This is my project. Okay. This project, it is available into my local system, and I want this project to share with my colleagues also, that you can also take this project and use it. So I'm living in India, and they are living, one is in US, another one is Canada. To share that kind of a project, I definitely need one platform to share them. So from here the entry point of the DevOps will start, and here the picture comes Git and GitHub. That is the versioning control which you are going to use it, which actually help you to maintain your code, push your code, pull your code, maintain changes, and make it onto the server. So basically, another tool into the pipeline which you are going to learn is, that is your Git slash GitHub, which is you are going to learn it for the component. Okay, so this is also one of the repository management tool for your system, right? So once this part is done, then definitely you might need some more understanding that how actually the mechanism related to the another important tool for the chef actually work. Okay, chef is also one of the automation tool which can help you to automate few of the processes. For example, in the beginning when we talk about Linux, we might be running some manual commands. Okay, we might be running some manual commands like, okay, I have to add user, so I will be running user add, that kind of a command, or similar kind of a small some process which I'm doing in the Linux, right? So I don't want to adhere always my thing to the manual task. So in that particular scenario, I'm needing one automation tool. So for that, the automation tool came into the picture is Chef. For what is Chef, how Chef is working, how these all things are actually defined and denote, these all things we are going to showcase into the detailed videos. But for the generic understanding, Chef is something which is an automation tool which is actually automate the processes available into your component. Okay, once Chef part done, then there are few more tools. Okay, few more tools. For an example, another one is, say, Ansible, another tool. Another tool is an Ansible. Say, for an example, I want to deploy 10 different instances or 10 different servers into my environment, and I want to keep and track for all these components, each of the component 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, each of them, and this should be my master node. I want to manage this complete server using this worker node. So Ansible give me a privilege to monitor these all loads from the system, monitor all the system from one master node. Means it can be transferred from one place to another and communicated how that mapping is achievable, what all files under the etc sys config related to the ansible.conf file, what you need to do it, that you can see into the practical part. But what exactly Ansible do, it actually manage all the hosting from the server side, and on that it is going to do it. Okay, so again this part is fine. Also now you have did chef, also you automated that task, you did the configuration. Now after doing these all tasks, you have pushed the changes, you have pushed the changes where you have pushed the changes to your GitHub, you have pushed the changes to GitHub, right? Now GitHub having all the changes available into the server, all the changes related to your mechanism is available into the server, but I don't want it to always run it from local, I want it to run it from the from your like any some continuous process I want to use it. So in that particular scenario, I would be using a pipeline tool that is actually called it as the Jenkins, and this is one of the famous tool which you have heard about as part of CI/CD integration, continuous integration, continuous development. What exactly it means? It actually means, for an example, I am a developer who is working on something. I push some changes. Okay, I push some changes. These changes went to the GitHub. Okay, GitHub. From there, I use like some of the build tool, say using Maven build tool, and then I have did some staging into the Jenkins, and then this pipeline initiated, and what happened? It start running, and then some tool output I have received it. Okay. Again, if some issue happen, again dev will push the changes. Again, it will come to the Maven. Again, staging will happen. Again, Jenkins will run the report, and this whole will work around into the round table. So basically, we want everything to be run into the formulation of a continuous process rather than making them in a stop, and it should be go into the CI/CD overview into the cloud sector or into the component, right? Definitely, once this part is done, once this particular part is done, once the integration part is done, then definitely you might be having a concern that what could be possible that there could be some security issues into this one, right? Security chances of issues will be there. So for that also we have few tools available into this one. That is, one is called it as OWASP dependency call tool OS, which is actually checking the vulnerabilities in your system. Okay, which is actually checking the vulnerabilities in your system and validate it things whether working fine or not. Similarly way, we have same kind of a tool called it as Stevie scan, which is also validate that any issue is there or not related to the bugs. Okay, now you have scanned the code, also you have scanned everything. Again, you might be finding an issue that okay, is there any chances that could be possible I might get some code smells. Okay, maybe my code quality is not good, maybe my code is not that much efficient. So for that actually we need another tool that is called it as sonar cube. It actually validate all of the quality of your code, and it will give you the complete dashboard how your code status is doing, whether it is where there is a bug, whether there is a vulnerability. It also validate it. So how many layers you have added? You have actually added 3 layers into this complete system for the security check, right? 3 systems you have completely added into the check. On that basis actually your code have been validated. Fine. Now this part also you have done. After that, what exactly another tool which you really need to do it and use it, that particular tool is related to your Docker. So basically, you everyone we know that Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, I will come one by one. Docker is basically used for like creating or uploading the images related to whatever the product you want to use it. We will see in one of the project where we will creating an image for any of the OTT platform, and that how it can behave onto the AWS cloud. That thing is you are going to see it. It is basically a concept of microservices where you need to build number of images, and on top of it you are going to create containers, and that you are going to use in your system. Images using and creating the containers, that part you are going to do. Similarly, way when Docker part will be done, definitely it will create some pods will be there, and that particular part can be managed by another concept that is called as Kubernetes concept. Kubernetes concept, and that actually can be visible or validated by kubectl get pods, and it will list you whatever images you have created and container you have created, that actually it is going to validate it. Now, so this also a part of your project which we are going to see, or part of your deployment in the DevOps where your end-to-end entity will work. Right? Till this part clear? Now come to the another level. For an example, now what exactly we do? We want to see you when you have already did so many things. Definitely you want to monitor this product also, right? You monitor this whole infrastructure how it is looking. So monitoring also can be done by multiple option. One is Prometheus is there via which you can do it. Another one is Node Explorer via you again can validate it. And again there is one more Grafana. So mostly you need to be play around these all monitoring part where you can validate it. From AWS there is CloudWatch which can also help you to give the a dashboard or a kind of a logs mechanism where you can monitor your complete infrastructure. So, in a short summary, if I can say what exactly we have talked about right now. So, we have talked about first one programming language as an understanding. If you are going programming language, it can be applicable for two kind of a role. One is for DevOps developer, one is for the site reliability engineer. Then what we talked about, we talked about operating system, that is Linux or Windows. After that, what we talked about networking concept, which is actually related to your SSH, FTP, TLS, and these kind of things. After that, what we talked about the clouds, that can be AWS, Azure, and GCP. This is the thing. After that, what is we have talked about? We have talked about Git and GitHub. After that, what we have talked about? We have talked about related to the automation tool, Chef or Ansible. We have talked about. After that, we have talked about the pipeline, that is the Jenkins. What we are going to do it. After that, we have talked about the quality check, that is the OASP dependencies or Trevi scan. Okay. After that, what we have talked about the Sonar Cube by which your code can be validated and checked it. Then we have talked about some microservices, Docker, and Kubernetes. We have talked about. After then, what we have one more is there in this ladder in monitoring. I will come. Then we have Nagios also, which can be used for monitoring. Then we have Grafana. Then we have Prometheus, and then we having the one more is there Node Explorer. So if you can see how much huge it is, the curriculum related to the DevOps which is available into the market, and the questions will be go and ask around these all component. It is not mandatory you for learn each of the tool, but you should be having a betterment understanding related the DevOps part, right? So basically, if you are a very beginner, you want to start the career as part of a DevOps engineer, you want to start as a site reliability engineer, so start with a very small thing. Start having an understanding related to the Linux, how Linux work, how the file structure look like, how the directories look like, and how this implementation is going to do it. You will be sooner find a complete list of tutorials on the Linux which you can follow it and can practice around it. Apart from that, one Linux part is done, then you will be doing the another component related to the cloud, have some idea on the cloud side. Once cloud part is done, then actually your DevOps journey will start, and from there your base is going to be do it. It will be around 2 to 3 months dedicatedly you need to put in if you really want to get a better experience on this area, and on that basis you can do it. So this is pretty much with respect to the DevOps area. You can have an explore. Please keep the channel subscribed, keep the notification bar on for every new updates whatever we are going to push on this channel. So you will learn something and you will get benefited. Drop your queries into the comment channel. Wherever the comments is option is enabled for every individual, drop your issues if you have anything. We'll try to figure it out and try to resolve as much as possible. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.